What's going on YouTube? Kristo here, and I've got a video for you. I'm going to be doing a new type of video here, kind of a discussion. I'm going to put out a question, a topic kind of thing, and going to let you interact with me and each other. And you know, I will definitely comment. I do want to start commenting more or being more up to date with comments and stuff. I will assure you I will definitely make more of an effort. So basically what I'm going to do is put out a topic today, citrus, especially for summer, and I'm going to give you my quote-unquote quick opinion about it, name a few fragrances that I really like, and then I'm going to turn it back and have my viewers, subscribers tell me and us what they think. Yeah, I'm trying to encourage interaction with me and with each other, so play nice, but I've got really great subscribers and viewers, so I'm sure you will. So citrus for summer, it's notes that have fresh, clean, and often sour or bitter hallmarks to them. That's exactly what I think of when I think of a citrus note or a citrus dominant fragrance. Citrus notes include lemon, orange, lime, bergamot, grapefruit, clementine, tangerine, pomelo, blood orange, as well as numerous others. Now there's what I kind of call crossover citrus fragrance, citrus notes, things like neroli, orange flower, grapefruit blossom, petite grain, that basically are taken from citrus plants, but they're not actually citrus notes. Usually they're quite heavy with, not quite heavy, but they usually have elements of floral or white florals, things like that. I should specify as well that I am going to be talking about dominant fragrances, okay? Fragrances that have a lot of citrus in them, like, you know, in the top most predominant notes. Things like Dior Homme, which most of you will be familiar with, has a little tiny bit of citrus in the opening, but that's not what I'm going to talk about here. I want to talk about things where it's unmistakably citrus, where you're going to get citrus elements for pretty much the entire duration of the fragrance. Very dominant, predominant citrus notes. Now, my personal view on this, I've mentioned citrus a few times over the years on my channel, and my opinion is still pretty much the same. To me, I'm not overly interested in citrus notes. Even at the highest quality, I still find it to be kind of lacking in interest to me. Mostly because it's usually either too literal, or I find it end up clashing, especially when you get a lot of citrus mixed with spices and things like that. I really don't like that. I'm not a very big fan of literal interpretations either. To me, at that point where it just smells like citrus water, I'd rather just go to the supermarket, buy a bag of lemons for $1, $2, and just squeeze them over my head. To me, at especially a niche price point, like, you know, over $100, you know, for 100 ml, going up to $200, $300, $400, $500, $600. To me, at that point, it's just not what I'm going to spend my money on. Or I should say, perhaps it's got to be amazing at that point for me to spend that much money. Pretty much every house, designer, niche, indie have some sort of citrus fragrance. Designer houses back in the day, 60s, 70s, 80s, they would do often very dominant fragrances for men as their like flagship fragrance. Things like Eau Sauvage from Dior, Chanel Pour Monsieur, as well as YSL Pour Homme, the old one, not L'Homme the new one, but the old Pour Homme, the classic. They're okay, actually. I don't mind a few of those. It's not really something I'd wear again, but I think they're a bit more interesting than what designers are doing today with citrus, which is usually aquatics, sport, or fresh versions of the originals. Niche houses, indie houses will usually have a citrus fragrance for the summer months, the warmer months, when people don't want to wear things that are heavier and darker. If you look at a lot of the high-end designer fragrances or the exclusive fragrance houses. Tom Ford comes to mind right away. He's just released a couple, I don't know how many, I know there's at least 2, maybe there's a few more for his private blend line. Pretty much every house out there has at least one citrus. Now, some citrus fragrances that stand out to me. Now, there are definitely some. I shouldn't come off, or I don't want to come off as hating citrus. It just takes a lot for me to be interested. So, a couple that I really enjoy. There's one here I've mentioned numerous times on my channel. I'm a big fan of this. I reviewed it and I've mentioned it in a few of my lists. This is Escale e Portofino from Dior's Cruise Collection. It is marketed for women, but I do think if you're a gentleman that likes really fresh citrus, gotta check this out. There are some florals in it, but to me, I think this is perfectly wearable for a guy that, you know, doesn't mind having a bit of florals in his fragrance. This one here, this is one of my all-time favorite aquatics, or something that has the name aqua in it, or is referred to as an aquatic. This is Aqua Universalis from Maison Francis Courdian. This is the EDT version. I split this recently, and all I had left was this. Well, actually, I had a lot more, but my wife really loves this, and she's worn quite a lot of it since I split it a couple months ago. One of the few fragrances in our collection that both of us mutually like. Very soft. Again, a lot of white flowers in this. Some very soft, slight citrus, but it is beautiful. Very classy, sophisticated. Let's grab this one. This bottle, not exactly the prettiest, but the fragrance, I assure you, is stunning. This is the Different Company's Bergamot. This is a big whopping 250 ml refill canister. Apparently out of production nowadays, but I was very lucky to get my hands on one that I also split. I've got about 50 ml of this or so left, and I will definitely get another bottle of this. It is so beautiful. It's crisp, clean, fresh. Just the greenest, crispiest bergamot mixed in with some slight white flowers. Love this one a lot. It is, I would say, my favorite citrus fragrance, like that's just genuinely straight up through and through all citrus. Really, really loving this one. Let's pop this one up for good measure, get a few designers in the mix. This is Aqua Fahrenheit from Dior. This is a more recent flanker of the classic Fahrenheit. Not as complex, definitely not as complex as the original Fahrenheit. Imagine taking the original Fahrenheit and just squeezing in a big, huge, juicy lemon. This here, the Aqua title, is definitely deceiving. This outperforms, I would say, 75% of any other designers I've ever tried. It is so strong and it is so potent. I get 7, 8, 9, 10 hours longevity out of this with just absolutely atomic projection. It is so strong. Definitely, I have to admit, I don't wear it as much as I used to. Back kind of before I was spoiled by niche or corrupted by niche fragrances. This was like my go-to citrus, my go-to summer scent, especially for, you know, kind of how daring it is compared to other aquatics and freshies. Very, very good from the Dior house. Next, let's put this one out. This is another one of my new favorites. This is Aria de Capri from Carthusia, and Carthusia's thing does seem to be very fresh, summery fragrances, so a lot of them are going to be very heavy with citrus. This one, the one reason I think it stands out, or one of the reasons it stands out, is because it's complemented with yellow flowers, which is less common. Usually when you get citrus mixed with floral notes, it will often be white flower, but this is yellow. Really interesting. It actually reminds me quite a lot of Chanel No. 5, but a little toned down, number 5 EDT I should say, but a little bit toned down with the floral note. So this is perfectly right up my alley. Very, very highly recommended. Let's grab this one. This is an old favorite. This is another one I have to admit I'm not reaching for as much as I used to, but I definitely think it deserves a mention. This is Eau de New York from Bond number 9. This is the first Bond number 9 fragrance I tried that really, really blew me away. I still like it, but the dry down that I used to think was quite interesting and unique, the very obvious oak moss, I'm kind of getting put off by it now. The opening of this, I still think, is just one of the best citrus openings in the mainstream niche world. But unfortunately, that oak moss, yeah, that's so good. Love it. It just comes out too quickly. The beautiful, fresh citrus white floor in the opening doesn't stay long enough, but it is still pretty good for the first couple hours. Let's throw out one more quickly. Let's see, what do I got here? Okay. This is A Pomme from Maison Francis Hourdian. This one is heavy on the orange flower, so I am categorizing it as a citrus. The only thing with this fragrance that I dislike is it gets too powdery too quickly. But I have very recently had my eyes opened to its sister, A Pomme Pour Femme. I'm actually enjoying this much, much more. It doesn't get as powdery to me, and the citrus, the beautiful citrus in the opening, the like kind of floral citrus, lasts much longer. So I might have to invest in a bottle of this. Really, really liking A Pomme Pour Femme, even preferring it to the Pour Homme. Old classic, throw in another designer here. This was once my number 1 designer fragrance. I still love this a lot, and I have a lot of people asking me, this was my number 1 designer back 2 or 3 years ago, and then when I updated the list about 2 years ago or so, a year ago maybe, it was completely off the charts. It wasn't even ranking. And I think I might have been a bit too harsh on it at the time. I love this. The only thing is, it's really simple and it doesn't really transition much. It's kind of like what you smell at the beginning is what you get. Now this one, to me, it's very interesting because a lot of people compare it to soap, and there is definitely some citrus in here. I believe it is neroli, if I'm not mistaken, but it's very weird, as in it smells like kind of soap derived from like petrochemicals or something, which might sound really disgusting, but I do think it smells amazingly classy and fresh and clean. Only reason it's not on my top 10 list anymore for designers is, yeah, I think I find it just a bit too simple. It's not very challenging to wear or anything. You know, they don't always have to be challenging, but in my top 10, I think they do. It's still a very solid fragrance. You can pick this up for very, very good price. Now, a couple fragrances that are must-tries to me. Things that are citrus dominant that I've been really, really interested in, or I've had people recommend to me. Some of those are Xerioff, several from there, Neo and Kobe. I talked about how much I love Bergamot and Neroli, and they're like, you have to try these. If you like those kind of notes, you've got to try Neo and Kobe. 1861, which I believe is going to be a little bit more of a classic masculine, but I haven't tried it yet, I'm just speculating. Clive Christian, 1872, I have actually tried, and I did like it, but it was a long time ago, and I don't remember much about it, so I definitely want to retry that. Creed Neroli Sauvage, and one of the not very talked about Creed fragrances that seems to be still in production. I think it sounds amazing, but it doesn't really get much talk. And Tom Ford, he's just recently released a few citrus-based fragrances for summer. A lot of bad things being said about them, but I still would like to try them. Neroli Portofino, I have tried it and I wasn't overly impressed with it. It just kind of smelled like lemon soap to me, but a lot of people talking about it again, so maybe I'd like to get my nose on that again, see if my opinions changed or not. So there you go. There's my quick, quote-unquote, opinion. What do you think? What do you think of some fragrances I've mentioned? What are your favorite notes specifically? What are some things I should try or others should try, or maybe you're looking to try? So there you go. I'm going to hand it back over to you, see how my discussion goes. Thanks for watching so much, everyone, and I'll see you again soon.